Hey, what's up, guys? This is Cody the Coin Raptor, and in today's video, I want to go ahead and talk about ARK Invest's 2023 January Bitcoin monthly report. And I'm going to go ahead and go through all the most important parts so that way you guys don't have to. And I'm going to point out all my important takeaways. Now, if you like this content, let me know, like, subscribe, and go ahead and leave a comment. And also follow me on Twitter for the most up-to-date information. So Bitcoin monthly, they go through a market summary. They talk about some of their key takeaways and the focus on the macro. We're going to get to that in a minute. Now they go through and they talk about both network security, network usage, and holder behavior, all being bullish for the most part, apart from this one neutral here for the network usage. So network activity, network security, and holder behavior are all bullish in ARK's view. Bitcoin also has bullish for long-term valuation and bullish for short-term valuation, as well as the bullish market sentiment. And this is the first time I've seen ARK go bullish on all of these individual Bitcoin metrics. So that's something really important to pay attention to. Next, they're going to talk about some on-chain dynamics. They specifically mention the 200-day moving average and 200-week moving average. That's something I talk about quite a bit on my channel, and specifically with the 200-week moving average on my long-term chart TA. But Bitcoin has been rejected at that 200-week moving average, and going forward, that's going to be one of the key levels to watch for your long-term chart TA. However, it has gone above your 200-day moving average, and it will probably wind up using this level for support. So also very important to point out that ARK Invest has this seller exhaustion constant that came out here. And so what you need to know about the seller exhaustion constant is that in this red area right here, when Bitcoin dips into that red area, it has shown that they have improved price action during the next 9 months. They specifically say 441% gains within the next 9 months when this happens. And so this is something that actually happened recently, and it has come back out of that zone. And the market has shown that it has overcome some serious downside pressure, and sellers are getting incredibly exhausted. So that's something that's very bullish right now that ARK is pointing out. Bitcoin also talks about the multiple cost. They talk about the multiple cost basis for Bitcoin, and right now it's above all of those cost bases, including the investor cost basis, the market cost basis, and then the velocity adjusted cost basis as well. And that is bullish in their view. Now they also talk about MRVR. So Bitcoin MRVR is this market value to realized value, and the way you can think of this is like anytime here it's below 1. Bitcoin is undervalued. Anytime it's, I would say, over 2 or 3 or 4, it's overvalued. And anytime it's around 1, it's fair valued. And right now it is around 1. So they also say that if it's consistently above 1, that would suggest that the capitulation is complete, and we're not going to wind up seeing any more massive capitulation events, and the bear market lows are in. They also talk about SOPR, which is your spent output profit ratio. So this can kind of be thought of as if traders and investors are selling in profit or not. And anytime it's above 1, they're selling in profit. And right now it is above 1. And they say if it holds above 1, the bull market will be confirmed. That's something I'm going to be paying attention to. Next, we're going to be talking about the Puell multiple, and Puell multiple is something I talk about quite a bit on my channel, but what ARK's pointing out here is that the miners are under less stress, and they've had much less selling at a loss, and the Puell multiple is showing miner profitability has been improving dramatically over the past 30 days. Next, you have the Bitcoin accumulation balance, and so this accumulation balance is defined as addresses that have received at least 2 deposits and have never spent the funds. This kind of hit a peak back in 2016, and now we're coming back all the way here after bottoming in 2018. And so what this is showing is that the investors and traders are switching more towards a long-term view despite some of the FUD and the market volatility. And in my opinion, this is a good thing because it puts a floor under the Bitcoin price, in which you have these long-term holders that do not sell and will hold regardless of price action and regardless of the FUD. Next, they talk about the macro. Now, this section is where you start to get a little bit of the bearish indicators. So they talk about the correlation between the dollar and Bitcoin price. And as I've talked about quite a few times on my channel, there is a negative correlation between the Bitcoin price and the dollar index. So as the dollar index goes up, Bitcoin goes down. And as the dollar index goes down, Bitcoin goes up. So they're just reiterating that based off of a weak dollar in the last 30 days, Bitcoin has gone up dramatically. Next, they talk about the M2 supply. So the M2 supply is just your money supply, and the money supply has fallen dramatically. And traditionally speaking, that's not good for risk-on assets such as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So this is another bearish macro event here. They also talk about the producer price index, which shows you or gives you an idea of how bad inflation is. And the producer price index has actually started to come down quite a bit here. The producer price index is a measure of wholesale inflation, and can also be used as a leading indicator for inflation. So that's come down dramatically. And the point of this is that if inflation's coming down dramatically, that means the Fed doesn't have to raise rates and hold rates for as high as long, and that would be very bullish for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. The yield curve, also they cover the yield curve as well, and so what they're saying here is the yield curve hasn't been this inverted in 42 years, and the yield curve is pointing towards a recession sometime in the next 6 months to a year, if we're not already in a recession. So this would also be very bearish for Bitcoin as well. All right, so let me go ahead and break this all down and give you guys some of my important takeaways from this Bitcoin monthly report. So ARK Invest comes out and they say, okay, things are very bullish for the most part for your on-chain metrics. However, the bearish aspect or the somewhat neutral aspect comes into when you start talking about your macro factors, the issues with M2 and inflation, and the fact that this macro environment is not very good for Bitcoin right now. However, I would say that this is probably the most bullish Bitcoin monthly report that I've seen so far since they started this last year. So that is really important to point out, the fact that they're actually coming out and saying, based on our on-chain metrics, based on our chart TA, that Bitcoin is incredibly bullish, and they seem to think that the bear market bottom is already in and the worst is over. Okay, that's how I would sum up this entire Bitcoin monthly report, is that the worst is over, but the macro environment is still very challenging for Bitcoin. Okay, so let me know what you guys think. Do you guys are you interested in reading this? And if you are, I will make sure I put the description. I'll put the URL where I can find this in the description, so that way you guys can check it out for yourselves. Let me know what you guys think about this Bitcoin monthly report. If you're as bullish as ARK Invest is right now, definitely would like to hear that. Follow me on Twitter for the most up-to-date information, and be sure to like and subscribe this video to let me know if you guys want to see more of these videos or what you're interested in seeing. I'm always interested in doing some more Bitcoin and crypto analysis. Okay, that's all I've got for you guys. Have a great day.